kahit wala kang...
Hi! Okay, guys. Check in
Hello,
tayo.
yes.
Okay.
Ayan.
Hi,
It's
Belle.
me. Hello. Ayan.
Hi, guys. Ayan, lipat-lipat na dito. So we'll start
Ayan.
off with some games by our game master and some announcements.
Yes. So,
Let's do
bago
a
ang
quick
lahat,
check-in.
tignan muna natin kung sino yung nandiyan dyan. Ayan, nandiyan na sila. Papasok na sila. Hi, Lou. Hi, Lou. Hi, Beatrice. Hello,
Si
Angel.
Angel and Jeanette.
Jeanette. Hello, guys. Ayan. Judy, nakahabol for second talk. Yes, yan. Ayan na, nagsisipasukan na sila. Andito na po kami. Hello, Aiza, Lim. Lovely Santos Esguera. Hello, guys. Hello, si Sai. I think nanalo ka yesterday, ano. Yay, congrats. Naalala ko yung mga names ninyo. Ayan. Yung pa-reminder natin, Jess.
Ayan. So, I just wanted to remind everyone of your best takeaways. Share with us your best takeaways in the comment section after every talk. Sobrang sumabog yung utak ko kay Stacy kanina. So,
Oo nga eh.
ang daming pwedeng takeaway doon, ha? We will choose the
True.
best one who will win a Puritan Pride kit. Potence that complements your complexion. Vitamin D3 nourishes your skin with touches of vigor, similar to the benefits from sunshine, with a perfect potency for energy and strength. Vitamin C is an immunity companion, amplifying your immune system and gives you more eye-catching radiance. Being the power-up bundle, vitamins D3 and C act together as a two-power enhancer for a sturdier body, immunity, and very good complexion. Power Up Bundle is exclusively available at Laz Mall. September Power Up, Health is Everyday, Puritan's Pride, PH. Ayan. So habang pinag-iisipan ninyo ang inyong mga takeaway, magpapagames na ang ating game master, si Belle.
Yes.
Belle the Budulera.
Alright, thank you, Jazz. Ayan, guys. Hello. Hi from Nueva Ecija, sabi ni Nicole. Yes, guys. Ayan, ang daming takeaways kanina. Nakaka-hangover yung conversation, sabi ni Kate. Ang galing talaga, sabi ni Facebook user. Please remember to allow StreamYard, guys. Ayan. Bago tayo mag second talk, and can I just say, sobrang excited ako para sa second talk na to. Alright, so, ayan, tawagin ninyo niya ang inyong mga kaibigan, kapitbahay, mga kapamilya para manood. Ayan, guys. So, ito, remember, dapat sa You Got This PH kayo nanonood dun sa Facebook group namin. So, kung hindi pa kayo member doon, please go to You Got This PH FB group para dun kayo manood. Tapos, doon dapat kayo magko-comment if you want to join our games. Ito, ayan. Praying for a face-to-face summit din soon. Sana. Hi, game. Hi, game na daw siya. So, sino na ang game dyan? So, sige, intayin ko muna kayo ng konti para habang wala pang mga baka nagsisilipatan pa kayo. Kanina nakita ko, doon nga pala dapat sa You Got This. Titignan ko dito, yung You Got This. Meron pa lang akong 18 na tao. Ayan, so lipat kayo. Yan. Ayan, yung mga game na. Okay, so guys, yung natin, pagka sa BDJ or sa ibang, pwede naman kayo sumali. Hindi lang kayo makapapasali dun sa sa mga mananalo. Pwede naman kayong sumagot. But yun lang, yung kumukuha kami ng winners doon sa You Got This PH group, guys. And mamaya, don't forget to join also our Viber community kasi mayroon kaming pa-raffle draw. Mamayang gabi, meron pa kaming last raffle draw. Exclusive lang to sa mga Viber community members namin. So just go to go.ilovebdj.com/BDJ Viber community or sa go.crazyaboutpaper.com/cap Viber community para maka-join kayo. Meron na kayong makikita dong Google form sa pinakataas. Hanapin niyo papapin ko yung Google form. Yan, tapos doon nyo i-input yung inyong mga names para kailangan Viber ninyo yung gagamitin ninyo. Ayan. Okay? Ayan. So, tingnan natin. Ayan na ba? Ayan. Oh, nagsisilipat na sila. Okay. Ready? Watching while cooking. Yes, guys. Kahit may iba kayong ginagawa, pwede kayong makinig. Pack na pack sa mga raffles. Do we still need to register again sa Google Form, Miss Bell, if we registered for the first day? Yes, kasi iba yung if yung meaning mo sa raffle sa Viber, kasi kailangan member ka ng Viber community, tapos tsaka ka mag-register dun sa Google Form na nandun. Dun lang namin ni-release yung Google Form na yon. Tapos kapag ka nag-input ka doon, kailangan Viber name kasi hahanapin namin kayo dun sa, hanapin namin kayo dun sa community. Ayan. Hi, ask ko lang yung sa nag-answer ng survey, yung winners. Oo nga, Maika, Jaja, yung mga survey winners natin. Meron na kami, hindi lang namin na-post. Sorry. Huwag kayong mag-alala, hahabulin namin yun September. Ayan. Sino to? Sana mapili, sabi ni NetNet. Ayan. Watching while working. Yes. We're here. Check mo po sa caption ng live. Yung sa mga nagtatanong kung saan ninyo hahanapin yung StreamYard permission. So, dapat dun sa caption dyan sa FB live namin, makikita nyo, allow StreamYard, tas may link doon ng StreamYard, tapos i-allow nila kayo. Minsan, kapag lumilipat kayo sa phone ninyo, kailangan ninyo ulitin yung pag-allow kasi minsan magkaiba yung laptop tsaka dun sa phone Na-announce na ba yung winners for the Deal or No Deal activity yesterday? Mamaya guys, i-announce namin. Pero na-post na yon sa You Got This PH group. Kaya guys, kung hindi pa kayo nakaka-join, hindi pa kayo member, punta na kayo sa You Got This PH group. Ayan. Joined na, excited for the raffle. Yes. There's a separate raffle po for Viber group, kaya you might want to join there. Yes, guys, ayun, yung yung pinost ko na, ayan, dito kayo magjo-join dun sa Viber community natin. Yes, ayan. Alright. Pwede na tayong mag-game. Sige, natin, dahan-dahan lang tayo sa game. Ayan, dito kayo magjo-join nung FB group natin. You got this. Sana may deal or no deal today. Meron. Abangan ninyo mamaya. Kaya kailangan ninyo panoorin. Ayan. Okay. Sige. Okay, mag-game muna ako. Ayan. Okay. Sige. Ayan, ito na. So remember guys, ang ating game, first come, first serve. First answer, first winner. Okay, so kung sino yung unang makikita naming sagot dun sa screen ni Jaja, ang ating game master winner getter. Okay, siya yung mananalo. I'm ready na daw. Okay, sige, eto na. Ang ating first game today ay mananalo ng Revlon lipstick! So, kahit ano yung makakuha nyo dyan. So, ito yung suot ko. Ayan. Yan. Okay, yan yung suot ko ngayon. Okay, yan. Okay, so ang ating game is BDJ Trivia Quiz ulit. So, tingnan natin kung sino ang mga mga avid fans namin. Okay? Wow, ganda. Let's do this, sabi ni Sheena. Yes. Okay, ang ating first question, tingnan natin. Medyo mahirap. Okay, ayan. If Beldager is the name of the planner, what's the name of the company? Ayan. Okay? Tingnan natin kung merong makakasagot. Ayan, may mga pumapasok na. Pero hindi ko sure kung kayo, dapat sa You Got This, dapat sa You Got This. Ayan, tama guys, tama. Viviamo. Ayan. Viviamo, tama. Yun ang name ng company. So, si Viviamo are the creators of Beldiger Power Planner, Focus Journal, Essentials Planner, Navi, and Everything is Possible. Ayan. Okay, ang ating next question ay, yay! So, may mga okay, so guys, remember kung sino yung unang pumasok na comment dun sa You Got This PH na live, na pumasok dun sa screen ni Jaja, kasi iba-iba tayo ng internet. So minsan, baka mamaya dun sa screen nyo kayo yung una, pero iba yung lumalabas dun sa screen ni Jaja. Ayan. Okay, ang ating next question ay, alam nyo kung ano yung pangalan ng company. But, what does Viviamo mean? Tingnan natin. Sige. Ayan. Mabuhay ang malalakas ang internet. Meron ng mga pumapasok. Ayan. Ayan, tingnan natin. Hindi siya crazy about paper. Okay. May mga lumalabas na. Sige, hindi ko muna babanggitin kasi baka mamaya hindi pa to sa, hindi pa siya sa You Got This eh. Ayan. Okay. Tama, ayan. Baga. Ang bagal ng internet ni Rhea. Okay. We live. Okay. Meron mga sumasagot to live. Yung yung meaning niya is we live. Ayan. Sabi po ni Google, it's in Italian. Yes, it's the Italian for we live. So bagay na bagay talaga siya. We want to live life to the fullest. It's in the now, so we live. Ayan. Yun ang meaning ni Viviamo. Okay? Next, ang ating next question. Tingnan natin. Ayan. Makisama ka, PLDT. Mahirap talaga ang internet ngayon. Next, ang ating question is, what was our 2017 theme? Yan, ano yung 2017 theme natin? Okay? Tingnan natin kung may mga papasok. Okay. Meron ba nakakaalam? Ang ganda pala ng meaning ng Viviamo. Yes! Iniwan ko planner ko sa office. Para talaga sa mga veterans to. Yes. Meron ng mga nagsasabi eh. Ano yung theme ng 2017? Clarity, peace, serenity, hindi. Dare to be you? Hindi. I got onto this because of last year's YGP. Thank you. Thank you so much. Dream, dare to be you. Meron na akong nakita isa. May isa akong nakitang sagot. Nasa bodega yung mga luma. Meron na akong nakita na sagot. Kasi hindi ko sure kung nasa You Got This ka. I'm a beauty of one. Hindi yan yung natin eh. If I'm not mistaken, 2018 yun. Ayan, marami na akong nakikita. Yung I Am a Beauty of One, 2018. Okay, ito na, sabihin ko na. Ready na ba kayo kung ano yung sagot? Ang sagot is, trust your heart to overcome the waves. Ayan. Okay, ayan. Yan, di ba? May mga lumabas na. Alam ko, dream. Hindi. Ayan. Yan. Trust your heart to overcome the waves. Ayan ang ating Yan ang ating 2017 theme. Di ba? Ang layo na nang narating natin from sa mga weaving, di ba? May mga, weaving, yung mga nakapamaypay, mga naging surfer na rin si Bella, naging, na siya, umangat na, naging Miss Universe na siya, naging fairy na siya sa Make Today Magical. Ayan. Saan galing yung sagot ko? Rhea, ikaw ata nakasagot nung nakaraan last year. Tinanong ko na rin to last year eh. Okay, next. Nanonood ba kayo na yan? Okay, eto. What year did we do our first online launch? Ayan, tingnan natin. Di ba, before naglo-launch kami yung una nga, 'di ba, is wood. Tapos nag-glorieta rin kami. Tapos yung pinakalagi namin naging location na was yung sa MOA. Tapos napunta kami sa Shangri-La. O, tapos nung nag-transition kami ng online launch, kailan? The first online launch. What year? Ayan, may nakita akong sagot. Okay? Yung hindi yung planner yung launch kung kailan namin siya ginawa. Yan. Okay, ayan. Hindi, ayan, may mga nakikita na ako, may mga pumapasok na. Tama. Okay? Everything is possible. Okay, ayan. Okay, so ang tamang sagot ay 2019. May mga nagsasabi 2020. Tama naman, para siya sa 2020 planner. Pero syempre, ginawa namin siya September 2019. Or rather, November 2019. Ayan. Okay, so 2019. Kasi nasad daughter ko dahil hindi siya nakapunta sa event. Oh, nakakamiss yung on-ground event natin. Nakakamiss yung nakikita ko kayo pero hindi nakakamiss yung pag-prepare. Yung pag-ingress, egress. Pag online kasi pagkatapos ng event, wala na akong aayusin. Wala na kaming iuuwing gamit. Okay. Alright, ito na ang ating last question. Tingnan natin. Okay, who is older? Focus or si Essentials? Ayan, sino yung older sa kanila? Kahapon tinanong ko kung sino yung mas matanda, si Navi or si EIP. Diba? Tama, si Kuya yung pinakasunod na matanda eh. Okay, may mga papasok. So, sino ngayon ang mas matanda sa kanila? Si Focus or si Essentials? May mga lumapasok natin. Actually, sinicelebrate namin yung ika-8 year, ba? 8 year niya. Ay. Tama ba ito? Oh my God, invento. Ayan. Ayan. Okay, tama. Si Focus. Tama. Si Focus ang mas matanda kay Essential. So, mas una siyang lumabas. And guys, reminder ko lang, ongoing pa ang ating promo. So, meron ka na lang, 11:16 na ngayon. So, meron na lang tayong 45 minutes before the end of the BOGO. So, remember guys, please use the promo code BOGO Essentials 2 or BOGO Focus 2 to get the 40% off. Ayan, okay na daw. Okay, guys. So, remember, BOGO. Okay, so I'm gonna call back. I'm gonna call back Dar para to introduce our second speaker for today. Ayan. Hi, Dar. Ayan. Ay, wala siya.
Hello, I'm back. So guys, thank you for watching and staying tuned with us, and I hope you guys had lots of takeaway kay Stacy. And as we talked about self-love, self-acceptance coming from honesty, napaka-important yon, being able to face the ugly truths about ourselves and embracing ourselves, removing talaga judgment. It's really one of the most important lessons and that we have to, parang process talaga siya of us learning and loving ourselves. So the next speaker that we have for our next segment is one of my very good friends and one of the most, as in super, most inspiring person I've ever met in my life. He is a Filipino dreamagineer and the founder of Dream Project, a volunteer-based organization that builds and supports collective Filipino dreams among the underprivileged communities across the Philippines. So I know since you guys have seen us mention or even heard us mention, diba, the 7 out of 10 Filipinos who stopped dreaming. This is from the study done by Prim all over the country. And this, parang when I really heard this from him, parang sobra talaga akong na-touch, natamaan, that I also want to do something about it. So the nonprofit of Prim aims to educate the youth, teaching them that the chances of realizing their dreams depends on what they do today. So guys, he's also the executive director in AIM, Dato Banatao, Innovation Center. If I have it correctly. I don't have the full ano. But sobrang, I'm so inspired by how his mind thinks in terms of different kinds of ideas, translating them to innovation, translating it to systems that you can create. Let us all welcome Prim Paypon. Hello, Prim.
Thank you very much, Dar. Is my voice loud and clear?
Yes, it's cleared. And thank you for joining us, Prim. I know you've been sick for the past almost 2 weeks na ata, no?
Uh,
Thank you for still showing up and being there for us.
you're very much welcome. On behalf of the Dream Project and the Asian Institute of Management and all the passion projects which are actually featured in my slides, thank you very much for this invitation. I apologize in advance if my voice is very weak or it would crack eventually because for the past 17 days to be exact, I haven't really talked because I've been bedridden due to very extreme cases of not so good things to happen in your life. Um, but I'm very happy to be here. I'm very happy that my
Thank you.
first full talking is actually at the summit, so close to heart, which was organized by a good friend and innovator, Darlene. So thank you very much for this opportunity. So my name is actually Prim Paypon. For almost a decade now, people have been calling me a Filipino dreamagineer, and it's actually a portmanteau I created when I was trying to summarize what I was doing 8 years ago to my little pamangkins. And over the course of time, I didn't realize how impactful of a term Filipino Dreamagineer is. And in the course of this presentation, allow me to give you a very personal story how the term actually evolved. So I am a development practitioner, meaning I started really as a pro bono community developer working for very underprivileged communities across the Philippines for a solid 5 years. It was only on my sixth year that the Asian Institute of Management invited me to be part of a 50-year-old institution to create the first um, technology startup incubator accelerator program in a Philippine business school here in our country. And it was very flattering because I'm not a technologist. I'm not also very much well versed with updates and trends regarding technology. But I would like to say that probably it was the core drive in me, uh, which actually caught the attention of the Asian Institute of Management. And for the past 3 years and counting, I have been simultaneously balancing the Asian Institute of Management, the Dream Project, which is my NGO, and other community projects that I've been very passionate about for the last 5 to 10 years. So allow me to start because when I actually read the brief, it was very close to heart how do you actually create your story. And I would always tell Dar when we were trying to establish our few of our friendship few years ago that I'm actually a very journal driven person. All the ambitions, all the dreams that I pursued in life were all written. Um, it was not just the case of writing my dreams. Later on, you'll see how important it was for me to write because when I was young, I was actually told I was dunce, a person considered incapable of learning. And for the longest time, when I was actually in school, people thought of me either as a dumb or a person with autism because I was so isolated. I would always have the poorest grade in my classroom, and there was not a Friday in grade school that my teacher would not recite my name and write my name at the corner of the blackboard due for another remedial class the following day, which happens to be Saturday. So that has been my life. And it was actually very hard for someone called a dunce, and I was also battling with dyslexia early on in life, to actually have big dreams in life. So journaling was something so personal, but also a tool that really helped me propel to where I am today. So when I was growing up, I'm the eighth of the nine children. I learned a very valuable lesson from my father, which I've been calling life number. So later on, also, you'll actually find out that I was named after my father. He was the senior, I happened to be the junior. So what is this life number? My father, who was actually a very inspiring breadwinner, also a very hardworking sibling that sent all his siblings to school, apparently was not able to graduate college because he had to decide whether or not he will be pursuing studies or pursuing work opportunities to provide for his siblings, and he chose the former. So growing up, I have so much respect for my father. And when we were so close when he was still alive, I remembered him teaching this concept of a life number. That life number happens to be the ideal number of people you should have met, inspired, and served before your birthday. When I was growing up, I didn't have the slightest appreciation for this concept. It was only in college, 5 to 6 years since his passing, that I started embracing the concept of life number. And I think this is one of those life concepts which literally guided me up until present day. So that life number is practically the essential building block of this entire presentation. How to even raise your purpose, how to even raise your life, especially in this unprecedented pandemic when we all felt that most of our dreams are actually shattered. So since I was born in 1983 to 2000, on the year I graduated from high school, I remember writing three important things in my journal. First is I wanted to learn how to write and speak because as a dunce and growing up with dyslexia, it was very hard for me to write and speak because fear and anxiety have always been my enemy when I'm actually being asked in front of people. Second is early on in life, I was actually exposed that we give not because we have in excess of things. We give because we have the capacity to give. And that early exposure of my young life to the plight of underprivileged children inspired me before I graduated from high school that one day I hope I can also build a school for children who have potentials but lack resources because they were born in very impoverished communities or society. And I promised myself before I graduated high school that by all means, hopefully every day of my life, I get to help people. So when I graduated from high school, from college to present, I would like to create three chapters to give you a more structured appreciation of my choices in life. The first part is actually the prologue, which pretty much talks about my education. This is very important to me because for a person who was then considered dyslexic and dunce, it literally shocked everyone that I was actually able to graduate school and eventually top all my academic um, uh, qualifications. Second would actually be how I fell in love with passions in life, which I eventually turned into a vocation and a profession. And third is, I would like to end this presentation with very good sharing of cultures of wisdom I've gathered along the way. So for the first part, the prologue, allow me to introduce where I come from. I actually come from the city which has the best chicken in Asal, where the famous Catholic Church Ingrid Christ is actually found, and where one of the first most successful integrated organic farm was built and located, called the Peñalosa Farm. I come from Bacolod City, Negros Occidental. So early on in life, my parents were very ambitious despite the hardship of life. Both my mother and my father deliberately decided that we had to be sent to good schools in Bacolod. After college, I got a very good scholarship to actually study at Ateneo and eventually finished my schooling at Fudan University in China. So, in terms of appreciation of concepts and school of thoughts, I am actually very happy that I learned biology for 4 years, languages for 1 year, and another year for social sciences. And these are actually very important. Why? Because where I come from allowed me to discover my cultural identity and local economies. It's very important for people who wanted to create impact, create solutions, that they actually know where they come from, because you cannot give what you don't have. It's very important for me that I devote so much of my youth to making sure that I get the most excellent education and learning from good institution. Because for me, that was actually a phase in my life that allowed me to hone excellence as a compass and empathy as an anchor. And excellence and empathy are actually two of the personal values I hold highest in my life. And when I was finishing school in Fudan University, I had this very interesting dissertation that I submitted, which was actually entitled The 10 Little Chinese Nests That Moved the World. I thought of arranging all the things I learned from the makings of Shanghai, from a very poor city to one of the world's global cities. I wanted to learn if this is something that they can also replicate in my own little way in communities I'm part of when I returned to the Philippines. And technically, that was the foundation of my non-government organization, the Dream Project. So when I was finishing all of this, when iPhone was becoming the it phone, somebody asked for my full name. It was a text from someone who was trying to invite me to be part of their organization's leadership training, and he wanted to introduce my full name. So I actually encoded from my not so smartphone my full name. My full name is actually Primitivo F. Paypon Jr. But interestingly, when I sent my full name to that person, it was auto-corrected to Primitive Payphone. While most of people find it very humorous, I actually find it very, very reflective and providential. Because at that stage in my life, I was also trying to reflect and ask myself this big question. In the age of fast-changing technologies, how can a primitive payphone be continuously relevant? And I guess this ties up with my life number. So let's proceed to passion. Passion for me is defined in terms of two things. When you try to jumble the letters of the word passion, you form three words. I, pass, on. And for me, that's my first definition of passion. Passion is something I pass on beyond this lifetime. Passion, for its second definition, is also something I learned from a mentor. And he has this beautiful description of what passion is. For him, passion is a persistent pursuit of purpose. Three P's: persistent, pursuit, purpose. And probably when people would ask me how I was actually able to identify and establish my passions, I would always tell them it took me a lifetime to establish all of those because it doesn't happen overnight. If it does happen overnight, I don't think it's passion. It's just a hobby or an interest. So allow me to share a few of the passions which I've been working on tremendously for the past couple of years. As mentioned earlier by Darlene, people have been calling me Filipino dreamagineer. It's actually a portmanteau of three most important words in my life: dream, imagine, and engineer. We try to create collective dreams with underserved communities. We try to imagine possibilities with them. And once those two things are established, we try to engineer very concrete, sustainable solutions to make those happen. So allow me to share what gave birth to the Dream Project. Early on in life, I've pretty much established the values I'm capable to translate into my everyday life. And for me, when you try to combine dream and imagine, you're able to engineer. When you try to put innovation in community, you're able to create impact. When you try to blend beautifully art and culture, it gives you identity. When you try to put food in the context of space, you build relationship. When you try to actually discover talents and challenge that talent with vision, it becomes sustainable. And if you actually mix together technology and innovation, you're able to create startups or enterprises. And these values actually propelled me to establish one of my life's greatest passions, which is called the Dream Project. We work with out of school youth and laborers. I work with startup founders and entrepreneurs to create community based solutions, projects, innovations that could create sustainable impact to the lives of many who were not privileged to have resources in life. These opportunities allowed us to build community enterprises, uh, such as the Suitcase Museum, which is actually a mobile museum that features some of the most inspiring local products created by Filipino contemporaries. And this actually shifts from one public school to another, teaching students how to create social enterprises using the very backyard materials that they have. And we've also created Dream Bankas, which allowed us to transport our children from remote islands to the main island just to go to school. Because of these innovations and putting so much rigor in our everyday lives to create collective Filipino dreams, we even created the first Filipino mud house daycare center, probably one of the first in the world, which is literally made out of putek and organic materials that created a daycare center for children. This is very close to heart because I had to be a construction worker. That's me in the blue shirt for the next 3 months. I'm not a construction worker, if you know, and I'm not even an architect or engineer. I'm a biologist. So I had to learn from YouTube channel on how to create infrastructures like this. But this beautiful Madhouse Daycare Center, which we've been calling Bahay Kubo Learning Center, have actually survived storms and floods. And we're very happy that we've actually generated more than 300 top grade school students from our little daycare center. So it's one thing to actually create opportunities for our children. It's another thing to make sure that we grow in a village where harmony and support are actually abundant. So we thought of also making sure that we are able to organize their fathers and mothers. So we created this concept called Fish Cove. It actually stands for Filipino Shopping, Craft Organic Villages and Enterprises. In these communities, we rediscover cultural technologies that are actually very known to these communities, especially the older ones, and create opportunities that are able to create modern use for this one. So take for example, if it's actually Hablon, we did not create another table runner. We actually created them to be part of Marikina Bay's Risque Designs shoe architecture. when we were building projects in the Dream Project, it's always very important for us that we also recognize the relevance of the environmental assets of the community. We've even built a mangrove park wherein it allowed college students to actually endeavor scientific studies in these areas to try to map out if there are actually new growth of mangroves or bird species along this path. We've even created community plazas. Why is this very important? Because if you're actually working with underserved communities, we're talking of an average 2 to 3 meters by 3 meters house area. And these house areas don't have any space for studying. And actually, most of them don't have electricity. But if they go to the community plaza, they're actually able to meet people who would tutor them from the barangay with good electricity and also alternatives for athletics and sport. And in each of this community, we've actually built the Honesty Bookstore. Honesty Bookstore is actually a free bookstore wherein you just need to present your school ID, and our volunteers from the community would replenish the bags of the teacher or the students with new school supplies. So while doing the Dream Project, it validated my love for the arts, which I've been into for more than half of my life. That led me to create a platform to discover and enable new contemporary art talents outside Metro Manila, which I call the Curious Creator. The Curious Creator was able to discover award-winning non-Metro Manila-based contemporary artists, and we've actually introduced them to Manila through a very solid created show, which gained collectors and writers' rave reviews. We've even created a photographer and a painter's conceptual show, and this photographer even bagged a global recognition in London for his photos. We celebrated themes at Curious Creator, specifically our first being the innocence of the children. And we've written books for the children as well to talk about stories, but this time the stories are actually focused on the children as an overlooked victim of war and crisis. So we've collaborated with an award-winning writer and 2 visual artists for our first art and book exhibit. So the Curious Creator is more than just arts for me. Art is something that is very close to heart, especially that I discovered that most of our artists come from very challenged economic backgrounds. So I try to discover and mentor them in the hope that they would turn out to be professional artists someday. If that happens, then it will be a very good testament in their respective communities that being an artist is a sustainable and profitable profession. My love for the arts propelled me to love and challenge myself on how to create space. One of the many things I was part of in terms of creating innovations and technologies to help mitigate the effects of the pandemic last year was perhaps one of my most challenging projects to date. As a space builder, I was very fortunate to work with a group. We call ourselves EQF Team, short for Emergency Quarantine Facilities. I work with a doctor, an architect, a Philippine Army, a pilot, an engineer to actually create then the first emergency quarantine facilities that help hospital expand their spaces and accommodate more patients. So we initially started with the idea of only building 10 facilities, but because of the actual need, from March of last year to August of the same year, from 10, it evolved into 75 emergency facilities. The most challenging last year was this project for me. Why? Because my main job is to create operations for this one. My second job is to actually raise fund for this one. It's one thing to create a fundraising project. It's another thing to translate the funds into actual infrastructure like this. So for X number of months, we were actually exposed to COVID patients because we work with barangay centers and hospitals. And each facility would cost us around 550,000 pesos. So you can imagine I had to raise more than I had to raise more than 50 million for this project so that we're able to serve at least 10,000 people through these emergency quarantine facilities. So from the arts, while I was actually doing the emergency quarantine facility, when I was working last year heavily with artists from outside Metro Manila and galleries to make sure that our artists have sustainable income while we're all locked down. A lot of people, majority of them I haven't met in life, reach out to me asking me if I can actually curate their spaces. Space curation is very close to heart because when you're actually in a lockdown, that's practically the space that you get to see and interact 24/7. And a lot of people suffered from mental depression because they were stuck inside. And what initially started as just I'll just do one project for 1 month. And this started last year. Turned out to be, I'm currently creating my 31st space or house since the pandemic started. And like all the other things that I do, I don't charge a cent because my purpose is just really make sure that these people live in very productive environment where harmony, peace, and beauty revolve around their homes in these most challenging times. And I'm very fortunate to create some of these spaces, which turn out to be, for most people who've seen it, very beautiful display of values, family, and the arts. My love for Space Creator is also one of the reasons why the Asian Institute of Management Dato Banato Incubator turned out to be a very contemporary playground of our Filipino startup founders. Why? Because every year when we try to open the space to new startups, I always make it a point that I change the entire visual landscape of the incubator using my own collection of artworks, mid-century furnitures, art books, and even artifacts. And I love the idea that every year I challenge myself to create flexible contemporary space for startup. And this practically served a real startup office, studio, and playground for currently more than 54 startups to date. At the Asian Institute of Management Dato Banato Incubator, we're very fortunate to build a community of diverse technology startups. It became a platform that enabled award-winning, impact-driven local startups here and abroad. And we're very happy that despite the frugality of our resources, we're able to innovate programs and projects to boost Filipino startup community. And interestingly, April of this year, because of my love for art and space curation led me to embrace the concept of putting warmth and plants in respective places. I like the idea that one of the most accessible coping mechanisms that people gave themselves since last year is being a plantito or plantita. So working with three friends of mine, a doctor, a technologist, and an engineer, we created the first engineering innovation community blended architecture that provides a space where people can go to buy rare plants, curated soil mixes, artisanal pots. This for me is very personal because it allows us to work with local communities and build more local economies. We work with soil people in Quezon province and Laguna. We work with potters in Pampanga and Bulacan. We work with different plant growers across Luzon. And for me, this is our humble way to make sure that people who work hard also to create micro enterprises are helped. And through Gaan, we felt strongly that it was a perfect platform. Gaan in Ilonggo means to give, but in Tagalog, Gaan actually means ease or comfort. Gaan was specifically created to get something from our store, give it to someone in the hope that that person who receives your Gaan gift would feel ease and comfort. So that's the beauty of Gaan. So we just made sure that because I'm a highly visual person, that there's a beautiful glass architecture that serves as a greenhouse. And when you go inside, it has a beautiful, very warm wooden cabin wherein you get to see how plants are actually curated. So this gaan, we've been operating since April of this year. We've met a lot of plant enthusiasts who come from very diverse backgrounds. And we're very happy that we've met very impact-driven individuals, entrepreneurs, lawyers, doctors, scientists, even college students who have been helping their mothers who are currently sick. And they've created beautiful bed spaces for their mothers with the use of our plants. And for us, that's the most rewarding part of being an entrepreneur through Gaan. And for the last part, allow me to share that lessons or things we learn on a day-to-day basis. This is not yet conclusive or exhaustive, but these are actually cudgels of wisdom as proof that we don't have to be wealthy. We don't have to be the smartest to create innovations that can move people, that can enable people and impact people. Because all of the projects that I've created so far, they're not funded. And I'm very happy to say that we were able to build these projects because of so much trust from the kind of integrity and excellence that we've built throughout the years. So if you practically summarize my choices and passions in life, they're pretty much represented by 5 things: art, entrepreneurship, innovation, impact, and space. And if you try to map out all the things that I'm currently part of, it has at least 3 of the 5 things that I'm passionate about or good at. Why? Because at the end of the day, I would never pursue something which I'm not into, because I just wanted to be harmoniously happy every day of my life, working on things that for me can create impact or sustainability to people I work with or work for. So I guess 8 years after I quit my job to pursue something called the Dream Project, it was a transition from a highly lucrative job to something which does not pay you any cent but would exhaust your lifetime savings. 8 years after, I'm still asked with the same question: why did you jump off the cliff, Prim, 8 years ago? And it was hurtful initially that people cannot get to see how important it was for me to live out my passion more than the financial rewards. It was very difficult for me and most challenging to explain it to my pamangkins who really look up to me, to tell them that at the end of the day, how we pursue and define success is not significantly attributed to finance and economics. It was very hard. So over the course of time, I had 3 very simple answers to this challenging question. First is, I still believe up until this day that dreams are more powerful than poverty. I still believe that service is never an act of sacrifice, but always a privilege to serve the last, the lost, and the least. And as a great lover of this nation, I still believe that no dream is greater than dream for country. This December, I'm actually turning 38, and my life number is 13,870. And I truly hope that despite the challenges and constraints of the pandemic, I was able to live up and hopefully surpass this year's life number, which happens to be 13,870. And with that, thank you very much for listening and have a safe and pleasant day ahead. Thank you very much.
Hello. Thank you, Prim. As always, ginugoosebumps talaga ako pag nakikinig talaga ako to you. It's really so inspiring. I just want to show you some of the things that the Bellas have shared while you were talking, because I think it's so Parang ang lakas ng feels. um, I also relate and believe with you that dreams are stronger talaga than poverty. Kasi parang it's really challenging eh. 'Di ba? Parang kaya ako talaga, parang nasa speechless ako sa when you said like dreams are stronger than poverty. I really felt na parang this is our way eh, really to be able to help our country. Kasi I know, I'm not so sure if I shared this with you. I had this friend na parang, ay, baka kilala mo, si Ana Santos.
Mm.
She's an award-winning journalist, and she wrote a lot about parang sex trafficking, mga ganon. But even before that, she was actually the most popular sex columnist. So something that we needed here in the Philippines in terms of education. And then she told me like she had a project with girls who got pregnant. Teenage pregnancy kasi is a problem here in the Philippines. And currently, I think nakaano tayo, triple tayo sa number natin. So, anyway, yung nangyari, sabi sa akin ni Anna, she got some planners also for them, and she did like some workshops, and then she felt na during that workshops, parang umasa sila na, okay, yes, there is a better life. Kasi parang if you're so immersed with your day-to-day na yung poverty or the challenges, parang ang dali lang na to lose yourself eh. Na parang to resign, 'di ba? The feeling of resignation na parang this is it, na this is the parang wala na akong magagawa sa buhay, and you go into that victim mode, you go to that feeling of helplessness. And the dreams, if you're able to ground on it, parang it helps you really move forward. So, sobrang ano talaga ako, grabe. Meron ka bang tips? Kasi I know during this pandemic, um, parang people are searching for that purpose, that combination. Kasi you mentioned so many passions. And yesterday, we also talked about na we are multi-dimensional beings. So, minsan kasi people na parang pag nawala na yung passion ko sa this item one, kung ganito, parang people feel so lost. But actually, sabi ni John Tanyabot yesterday na, but you have other passions. So maybe just look at it. And parang na-reaffirm siya sa akin kasi sabi yung ano mo, yung list mo of your passions. And I really see that in you. Would you have any tips for people trying to figure that out in this pandemic?
It's very hard because I haven't really talked for the past 17 days. You know, I've worked with artists. I think I've worked with more than 100 artists. Majority of them currently have, and these are young artists, and majority of them are actually at the top of their game, meaning it would probably take years for a collector to get their artwork. And I've always been very proud that through their profession as an artist, they were actually able to build houses for their parents. And I think for most corporate professionals, that's a rare feat to actually build a house for our hardworking parents as a reward.
Correct.
And a lot of people felt that it takes a huge inspiration for an artist to hold his or her brush and paint something on the canvas. But this is actually something I've learned from the greatest people I've actually interacted with in this lifetime. That inspiration is not something that you get to see outside your world. Inspiration is called inspiration because it's actually something from within. And I would always tell the artist that you don't have to wait for inspiration to knock on your doors for you to start painting on your canvas. Because, like excellence, inspiration is an everyday habit that can bring forth creative artistry and inspiration. And I think for most people, we always kind of felt that I need to be inspired. I need to be with people who are bigger than me to get inspired. I need to read a book to get inspired. I need a plant to get inspired. But at the end of the day, inspiration for me has always been from within. And I think that's my greatest tip for everyone in these most challenging times. We are our own inspirations because whatever we call out from within is the very inspiration we can give ourselves and people. And that's very contagious.
Grabe, kinikilibutan talaga ako. Whenever you speak, I really feel the power in your words. Um, One thing, di ba, Prim, parang we saw your journey, how you were able to, parang, I guess in a way, get out of that, parang the pandemic language. Then you were able to do that by finding your purpose and locking in with these kinds of projects that you did and to make an impact for different communities. I really love that kasi I think sometimes parang especially what you said about service that is a privilege, right? Because people, I mean, it's a common conversation, right? And then we also need to balance it with parang giving from an empty cup. Parang would you have any recommendation na parang 'di ba kasi minsan ganun din na parang when you're languishing there's also that parang tidbit or tip na people are saying na, why don't you focus on helping others? Tapos, di ba, merong isang conflicting idea naman. You cannot give from an empty cup. Would you have any parang tips or suggestion how to balance these two conflicting concerns?
Um, I've read a lot of books in my lifetime. I think one of the greatest stories I've read are from missionaries who were actually inspired by the great stories of Mother Teresa. From that book, authored by missionaries for young missionaries, I actually learned that it would hurt your life if you give from your empty cup. It would actually hurt you eventually more if you continue to give from your empty cup because we are first and foremost human beings. We can only give what we have. Therefore, we cannot give from an empty cup. So we can only give from what we are actually in excess of. And I think that's very reflective of the life of saints. Well, for most people, we see them as too sacrificing in their lifetime. Lo and behold, that they actually lived a very abundant life in their simplest ways. That's why I guess they kept on giving and giving in their lifetime because they never got half of their cup to give it to others. What they did was they tried to focus on their inner self and allow that inner self to be a bottomless well of strength, courage, service to people. And I guess that's the reason why people can always depend on them. Because if we try to be an overwhelming well from within, we will never run out of whatever water or life we can share with people. So I always felt it's not a matter of giving what you don't have. It's always a matter of giving what you are in excess of. Because hindi ka pwedeng magmahal ng kapwa pag hindi ka buong-buo.
Thank you, Prim. That's really amazing. You're right Parang I really got that na parang the saints and the people that we think that are sacrificing are actually living in abundance. And I think this is one of the lesson maybe or even the things that we have to learn to through process. I guess that's why we look at these people, these inspirational people sometimes kasi naghahanap tayo ng techniques. But I guess from your reminders, bottom line, it goes on how we fill ourselves up with parang living in the essence of abundance eh. Kasi even as you said na kahit parang from the outside or society looking from the outside, mukha siyang parang maybe naghihirap or poor siya. Or, like for Mother Teresa, she's super abundant because the whole time, parang people are just giving her everything she needs. That she wants to build the house. Parang people were just giving to her because she was so also so giving. Yun daw yung energy niya. So parang siguro her beingness or her essence was really just that abundant that it attracted this abundance and it created that energy na she also continuously giving. Um, sorry,
And
ano siya, ano siya, light bulb moment siya sa akin, yung sa
yeah,
sinabi mo. Sabi ko, ang galing, oo.
I guess, ano siya, to put it concretely, when I was growing up, uh, when we technically lost everything that we had because my father happened to be a very trusting person to people. So we lost everything that we have. Um, Growing up in a private school, I literally saw the transition from what we used to have to the very simple life that we have to grow in. And despite the simplicity of our household, despite the sudden shift from an abundant feast on our table to very simple meals on our table, my mother allowed our doors to be always open to our former factory people, our people we used to employ. And when I was growing up, I don't understand why we had to give the only things that we have. And I think it was only in my mature conversations over the years with my mother that I realized that my mother has always been a very contented woman. And practically, she was not giving the things that would nourish us, but the in excess of things that we nourish us. I just felt that we were poor or we had less because I never saw what was beyond my mother was actually teaching us. And I guess one of the many things I learned from that one is the fullness of a cup comes from a very deep well of contentment. And that's what my mother actually taught me.
Grabe, ano, ang dami na naiiyak sa group natin. One of the things that one of the Bellas shared this and nakakahawa nga yung kindness. And I think that's such a great lesson from your mom. It's amazing lang. Ako parang mas nako-connect ko lang rin din right now, Prim. Yun nga. I guess the lessons that we have in terms of abundance and giving ourselves and how it's creating the flow in our life and being able to find our purpose through uplifting others. So, thank you so much, Prim. Thank you. I
No
know you've been
problem.
sick.
No problem. I guess ano siya, talking about kindness, this might be my last tip. I learned this one from one of the most inspiring books I've ever read in recent years. It's actually called Wonder, which was translated into a movie that starred Julia Roberts. It's actually about a
Yes.
reform kid. When you're actually confronted with two opportunities, either to be right or to be kind, we always need to choose kindness, especially in these challenging times. We might not see how right things are, but we can always be assured that kindness is always a good path. Uh, I guess when I got sick in this recent weeks, uh, my mother kept on bugging me that it's perfectly fine to be selfish in these trying times. And even our mothers at times cannot fully understand our sense of why. And true enough, we can be selfish in these trying times. But for me, I don't think I ever wish my life to be very self driven because I only get to live once. And I would always tell this to people that if I die now, at least I can truly say that it was worthy of the life that was given and extended to me. And for me, that's my definition of you only get to live once. Thank you very much, Dar.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prim. Um, uh, I really have no words. I really feel the goosebumps, especially, I mean, throughout, and then in your last words. And thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here despite being sick. And I hope you nga, as you shared with me na this will be your, ano, your send off for a week break. So sana talaga mag-break ka, Prim. And I will always pray for your health and wellness in everything. And then may you always have your heart's desires, because I also know how big your heart is. And I am always have been truly inspired by you. And the Bellas are seeing someone like you. And I hope they can truly embody like the lessons that you've shared with us today. Thank you
You're
so much,
most
Prim.
welcome. You're most welcome, Dar. I hope I was able to share something that lifted up your spirits, especially the Bellas. It's truly a great honor always to be given a chance. I'm not really a big speaking engagement person, but this is probably my responsibility to communities I'm part of. That in one way or another, for people who have the capacity to talk about it, it's our job to talk about it. And I
Yes.
guess in terms of lifting people, I always tell this to people that if we wanted to serve people, may it be our family, people around us, we have to be lower than them because we cannot truly lift off people if we're just sitting beside them. We have to be lower than them for us to actually move people up. And I guess that groundedness that I'm actually talking to is the very reason why I develop so much sense of excellence and empathy for what I do. And more than kindness, kindness should be excellent and empathetic. If we wish our kindness to transcend beyond our lifetime. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prim. And I will say goodbye for now for the Bellas, because I think Belle has still some things to remind us on. Thank you so much, Prim, for this segment. And see you in a while. Belle. Sorry, Belle. Unmute. Hindi nakita.
Hello! Hello!
Ayan. Hello. I will exit
Alright, ayan.
again.
Okay, ayan. Sorry. Okay, guys. Ang hirap, no, na parang, ayun, nag-aano ako, nagmumuni-muni pa ako dito. Tapos biglang, ay, kailangan. Okay, parang kanina ba't iiyak na ako dun sa last part. Tapos parang, wait, hold it, kasi papasok ka na ulit sa screen. So, Bellas, breathe in and breathe out. Ang ganda. Umiyak ka din ba, Bel? Umiyak ako, pero sayang yung makeup. So, sayang the makeup. Kaya, pinigil ko. But, kaya sabi ko kanina, before I did, di ba, nung I was opening, sabi ko, super excited for this talk kasi talagang very inspiring talaga si Prim. I super super love listening to him. Even yung tone ng voice niya ang soothing pakinggan, 'di ba? So bagay na bagay talaga 'yan. So guys, syempre before we will do our lunch break in a few minutes, but before that meron lang tayong I we still have to do yung ating flash sale. So, go, go, go. Ayan, nako, na, lunch na pala. Wala pa akong sinaing. Sarap makinig sa talk ni Prim. Yes, hingang malalim tayo, guys. Baka masira yung eyeliner ni Miss Bell. But, I just wanted to remind everyone na naka-close na yung ating BOGO for Focus and Essential. And we're off to our second flash sale natin this afternoon. So, eto, bago ako mag-ano dun sa mga ibang reminders natin, I just wanted to share muna yung ating flash sale code and kung ano ba yung i-ano natin. But ayan, masyadong maraming natutunan at pwedeng pag-isipan. Hindi ako makapili ng key takeaway. Ayan. Ang ano niya, 'di ba? Ang tago sa puso. And especially the kindness kasi very I'm yung value ko din, one of the values that I really really want to uphold is kindness then. And yeah, ang speechless. Okay, but kailangan kung umalis dun sa solemn energy, tapon ko na yan, balik na ako dito sa sa Budolera, charot. Okay, guys. So, ang ating flash sale for this afternoon ng 12 p.m. hanggang 2 p.m. is si EIP. Ayan. So, si Everything is Possible planner natin. Currently, it's 510. So, yung SRP niya is 499. So, but starting yesterday until September 30, naka 15% off tayo dyan. So, you can buy it at 510. And now, I'm gonna share kung ano ang kanyang flash sale code. Ito. Siyempre, ang flash sale code niya ay, I'm sure nahulaan nyo na, Juning, ay BOGO EIP 2. Ayan. Ayan ang ating flash sale this afternoon. So again, first 50 users can enjoy our Everything is Possible flash sale from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. only. So buy one and get 40% off on your second order when you use their promo code. So you have to add 2 of this para gumana yung promo code. Kapag isa lang yung inilagay nyo, hindi siya gagana. Okay? And 2 of isang kind lang Ordered Everything is Possible planner yesterday. Can't wait to have na. Yung nakabili na ako ng Focus at Power Planner pero lakas makaawit ng EIP. OMG. Alright. So para dun sa mga hindi nakaabot dun sa hindi nakanood ng ating flash sale yesterday for Everything is Possible, I'm just gonna go through ulit yung ating theme for EIP and yung yung mga inside pages niya. So yesterday, si Jess yung nagpakita kasi hindi napadala sa akin yung EIP. Ngayon, eto na, nahabol na nila. So hawak ko na siya ngayon. Maaamoy ko na din siya kasi nainggit ako. Okay, hindi ko pa siya pinagbubuklat kasi gusto ko yung reaction ko same. Okay, so kakabukas ko lang to ngayon. Okay, so the Everything is Possible, ang niya is the moon phases. Yun ang kanyang theme for this for 2022. So the moon phases, yung pakita ko lang, ayan. Okay. So yung sa moon phases, yung pakita ko lang yung first special pages ng EIP natin. So ito yung mga standard pages namin na nasa planner. So the road to your best life. Ayan. Ang ganda talaga. And then yung kanyang Dear 2022. So yung cover ng EIP, meron din yang foil stamping as you can see. Ayan. Okay. Tapos pag ginanito ko siya, nakikita nyo yung moon phases. Oh, ang galing, di ba? Did you see? Di ba? So naka-back to back siya. So makikita nyo yan dyan. Ayan from new moon, di ba? Yung hindi tapos, dire-diretso siya papuntang full moon. So, ayan yung buong cover niya pagka in-spread nyo. Ayan, no, I was so caught up sa talk. Di ko naabutan yung focus. Okay lang girl, naka 15% off naman siya. So, ayan. Okay? So, ayan yung cover ni Everything is Possible. As I said yesterday then, yung moon phases nito is parang kasi just like the moon, we also go through different phases in our lives. So, 'di ba? Meron tayong minsan full moon tayo, we're in full bloom na parang ganyan. Minsan naman, we're only half or minsan we're in the sabi nga nila dark ages. Dark. Okay, 'di ba? And sometimes katulad ng mga moon na minsan natatakpan din tayo ng mga clouds. So we go through cycles to phases, but each time we go through this cycle, meron tayong lessons learned and meron tayong iba-ibang makukuha na inspiration or mga natututunan natin to move past it and to continue moving forward. Ayan. O, di ba? Ano din ako, wow. Okay, ayan. Di ba? So, di ba this year, ang natin is breakthrough. Breakthrough yung 2022, 2021. Asan ba yung 2021 ko? Breaking through. Ayan, okay. Breakthrough, di ba? So, 2021, this year natin, yung theme ng EIP is breaking through. Ayan. So, syempre, after mong mag-breakthrough, di ba? Sabi nga dito, you're on the right track, di ba? After mong mag-breakthrough the changes, the upheaval of the recent years, you open this book and this year as a new you. It may not have been easy, but acknowledge yourself for both the wins and the losses. For they made a stronger, more graceful you. Ayan. Just like the quietly radiant moon that cycles between waxing and waning, we are formed through the seasons of life. Through phases of darkness and of illumination, we journey on with the certainty that all will be well. Yeah. The beginning of the year comes with the promise of renewal. Ayan. We're being renewed, di ba? Though the world may continue changing, you've learned that what remains true is your power to carry on and make things happen. As we welcome 2022, what dreams, hopes, goals fill your heart and mind, di ba? What possibilities would you like to bring to your life? Ayan, di ba? Kahit na ang daming nangyayari, everything is possible. Yung signify niya is the renewal, di ba? Na you still have the power to go through life. Ayan! So, eto na ang ating ito yung kaya sabi ko, gusto ko yung EIP. May hugot pala si EIP. Yes, hugot na hugot ang lahat ng aming mga planners, guys. Okay. So, yung unang ni EIP, what I really like about this is sobrang connected niya. Si EIP kasi yung medyo super goal-getter, natin, planner, it really helps you break things apart, 'di ba? Parang 'di ba may how do you eat an elephant? You cut them to pieces, 'di ba? Ganon. So the first thing that you have na meron kami is the 2021 year review. So what you do is isuscore mo yung per month mo. So ba to January, anong score mo dun sa area A, isuscore mo kung 1 to 10 yan. 0 to 10 pala. So, for example, last year, nung nag-year review ako for 2020, very low yung mga February ko, January to January ko, kasi yun yung namatay yung dog ko, ganon, yan. Tapos, i-mark nyo siya. Then, dito sa area B, you put there kahit one word or kung ano yung kasyo dyan, kung ano yung nangyari. Bakit ganun yung grade mo, 'di ba? Tapos, ang gagawin mo diyan, ganito Okay. Ito, makikita nyo, 'di ba, merong graph diyan. Ngayon, i-mark nyo ngayon diyan. Pwede kayong gumamit ng ruler, lagyan nyo ng dot kung nasan. Tapos kapag kanaan nyo yung dot, igaganon-ganon nyo na siya. Iko-connect nyo na siya. That way, you'll see a graph. Makikita nyo in a one spread kung ano yung naging ups and down ng inyong 2021. Okay? Next natin is, ayan, so after nyo mag-year review, di ba? Chinek nyo na nga. So meron na kayo dito yung my gifts, di ba? Yung my gifts, iaano niyo yan na, sabi dito, di ba? Take another 15 to 30 minutes of quiet time. Ganyan. I-identify nyo kung ano yung top 3 highs. Tapos, so yung best 3 mo last year, yung itong year na to, di ba? Tapos, pagkatapos nun, nilalagay mo kung ano yung grateful to myself. Yan, dyan susulat mo. So, syempre, dahil meron tayong highs, we also have our lows, and that's okay. Diba? Ayan, lalagay mo dyan. Bottom 3, bottom lows mo yung tatlo. Pero, dun sa bottom lows mo, ano yung thankful mo dyan? Ayan. Sabi ni Yixi, may bills tracker ba ang EIP? Wala siyang bills tracker, pero kung nag-sign up ka sa YGT, dun sa registration kit, meron kaming downloadable na budget and bills tracker doon. So, yay, di ba? Ay! So, dito, meron niyang, di ba, pwede mo nang, siksikan, kasi meron tong meron pa rin naman siyang back pocket dito mo lagay. O kaya dikitan mo siya. Alam niyo, meron kaming workshop dati, yung kala Janus, sa BDJ Plan With Me. So, kung hindi pa kayo part ng BDJ Plan With Me, may mga journaling tips doon kung paano maglagay ng extra page. Yay! Diba? Ayan. So, after nun, yung My Life Now. Diba? Meron din tayong Quest Finance Edition. Diba? So, kasi pwede naman doble. 'Di ba yung sabi nga natin, what's your get things done system, 'di ba? Katulad si Dar, very techy din siya, kahit mahilig talaga siya magsulat, pero talagang partnered niya ito with a calendar talaga na yung digital calendar. Ganun, okay, sa mga meetings niya. So, nasa sa inyo kung paano nyo gagawin or i-formulate ang inyong get things done system. So, ayan. Pagkatapos nito, yung My Life Now, meron yan dito, yung pie chart. So, yan, ito, self-expression, meron dyan health, physical, business, career, money, finances, i-grading nyo din yan, yung each aspect of your life. Tapos, dodrawingan nyo siyang ganun, kung asan ka, tapos kukulayan nyo. Para at a glance, makikita mo kung anong level or ano yung mga bottom parts of your life na you need to work on. Ayan. Ganda, oo na, kailangan na namin ng EIP. Thanks, Bel. Lalong nakaka-excite. Get both. Okay. Ayan. Tapos, syempre, pagkatapos mong i-identify, yay, question. Ayan. Pagkatapos mong i-identify yung mga bagay-bagay, you move into your vision board. So, yung vision board, ito nga, di ba sabi, ito yung similar to dream board yan. So, no edit list yan. Parang it's your own canvas. Kung ano yung mga gusto mo, sky's the limit. Idikit mo dyan, ano yung mga gusto mong ma-experience sa life, love life. Gusto mo bang makilala yung mga BTS, dyan? Mga fans dyan ng mga BTS, di ba? Ilagay nyo dyan yung mga pictures nila. Di ba? Pagkatapos nun, you go na to your 2022 goals, di ba? Yan. So, meron dyan, may makikita kayo dyan tips. So, meron kaming sinagutan na part para matulungan kayo kung paano nyo a-answeran. Ayan, may mga sample kami dyan. Di ba? Tapos, eto, pagkatapos yan, ibabalikan kayo dun sa referring yan. Bawat isang slide dyan, nakakonect yan kung ano yung mga sagot nyo dun sa mga kaninang pages. Ayan, tapos, eto, yung goal setting. So, katulad ng isa, meron din yung mga sagot dito para matulungan kayo kung paano nyo siya sasagutan. And then, yung key projects overview. Ayan, para makita nyo, pwede nyo i-mark dito kung anong month. January, February, March, ganyan. Tapos, yun na, meron ka ng letter from me. Diba? Dito is pwede kang magsulat ng letter for yourself. Alam nyo, masaya magsulat ng letter. Actually, diba, nag-share nga si Miss Zara din yesterday na sometimes nagsusulat siya letter for herself sa mga future boyfriend. Ginawa ko na rin yun. Meron din akong letter to my future boyfriend. And actually, nag-write din ako ng letter for money. Diba? Nung parang kasi, diba, meron din akong limiting belief about money. Isa yun sa mga stories that I tell myself na money is bad, it's evil, ganyan-ganyan. So, kaya baka hindi tayo nagkakapera. So, nung nag-make peace ako with money, nagsulat ako, Dear Money. Or binangalanan ko siya. Meron ako my name. And parang, ngayon, I'm sorry if I feel, ganyan-ganyan. And that's the start to complete yung complete content, sabi niya. Ayan, yes, EIP is the perfect planner if you want to really identify an ultimate goal for 2020. Yeah, so dito, eto, dear self to, di ba? So halimbawa, this year, 2021, are you hard on yourself, di ba? So actually, every year I do that, na parang, dear Belle, ganyan. Sorry, I've been too hard on you. Ganon. May mga pag-ganon talaga ako, may mga pa-drama ako. Parang, alam ko, naging madrama ka ngayong taon na to. And I'm sorry if ginajudge kita na you're not as strong as you used to before, ganon. May mga ganon na akong drama. So, pwede kayong magsulat dyan, di ba? To make, yes, yan. And, ito na, papakita na natin ang ating monthly layout. So, dun sa pinakita natin, ito yung December. Yan. So, yung monthly layout natin, meron siya ditong My Daily Habits. And then, meron dito yung this month's priorities. So, para to help you break down your goal, di ba? So, halimbawa, nag-set kayo ng goals dito. Tapos, per month, i-break down nyo siya eh. Halimbawa, kahit very small lang. Halimbawa, itong month na to, dun sa pinaka-ultimate goal nyo by the end of the year, what are those small things that you need to achieve per month? Diba? So, halimbawa, ito. So, this month's priority, halimbawa, ang goal mo is to lose weight by ganito. Diba? So, halimbawa, this month, start small. Diba? Halimbawa, small by, kunwari, I'm gonna start doing 5 crunches every day. Oh, ganun lang. Ito, lagay nyo lang dyan. Same din dito sa My Daily Habits. Ano yung mga gusto nyong i-formulate na habits every month, di ba? Tapos, dito, meron dyan mga bilog-bilog. You can check dyan kung nagawa nyo ba yung mga daily habit na yon. Okay. Tapos, ito yung January. Ito yung mga monthly dividers namin. Meron yung mga affirmations, mga quotes, and mga mga advices. So, halimbawa ito, the start of the year always feels like an especially powerful occasion to embark on fresh beginnings, like the energy of a new moon. This first month is opportunity to lay the foundation of the coming journey. So, pagka tinignan natin yung iba, meron din yan. Ito naman yung February. So, ito, meron yan. Quote ulit, and then, meron ulit ditong pa-advise. So, ganun yung sistema. So, ganun yung style nung monthly dividers ni EIP. Ayan. Tapos, meron siya naka-feature na iba-ibang moon din. Ayan. No? Dito sa February, ayun yung moon niya. Pero pagdating mo ng March, ganun yung moon. Ayan. Tapos, sa weekly, weekly layout, ganito. So, the weekly layout ni Everything is Possible, mas kita yung, timestamps. Ayan. So, mas kita yung timestamps niya. Kasi, katulad nga yung sinabi namin, very goal-getter si EIP. So, talagang gusto niya, tutulungan ka niya to really use the timestamps. Kaya very, hindi ko makita yung ballpen ko. Hindi ko pala dapat ito-try ko. So, pwede nyo gawin, for example, 8 to 9, anong gagawin nyo? So, parang mag-bracket kayo dun sa timestamp na yon, tapos isulat nyo dun kung ano yung mga gagawin ninyo. So, yun ang pages ni EIP. Tapos sa dulo, meron lang siyang notes pages. Yan. May nga blanks pages yan. Sabi ni Jome, if you want to plan with time blocking system, you can use EIP. Yes. Pwede, pero nasa sa inyo rin naman, di ba? Kung mas gusto nyo ng walang timestamp, you can just use a washi tape. Tapos lagyan nyo yung malipis na washi tape, tapos lagyan nyo, dikitan nyo ng ganon. Ayan. So, meron din siyang yung buong calendar ng year, back pocket, and yung kanyang garter. Yan, si EIP. So guys, again, yung kanyang promo code is BOGO EIP 2. So the first 50 users can enjoy our Everything is Possible flash sale from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. only, guys. Buy one and get 40% off on your second order when you use the promo code. Ayan. So, kung meron kayong mga friends, family, 'di ba? Kung naman sa tingin niyo magugustuhan ito. And ang cute kaya ng kulay niya, blue. Natutorn na nga ako kung gusto ko kasi yung leather. Kaso gusto ko to parang perfect na perfect kasi mahilig ako sa moon, mahilig ako sa blue. Gusto ko pa yung EIP. So parang okay, eto na nga. Okay. Ayan. So, baka dalawang planner na ulit yung bilin ko din. Diba? Ay!
Hi, Belle!
Hello! Hello!
Okay. Papaalala ko rin yung top badger, ha? So, the top badger is the most
Yes.
engaged in the comment sections during the speaker talk. We will pick one winner per talk who will win Crash Planting on You kits. Ang Crash Planting
Yes.
Kitchen Garden Kit has everything that you need to grow your own fresh kitchen garden year-round. We make
Iba-iba
planting
siya.
easy for you. No green thumb nor backyard needed. Our Plant and Manifest Kit lets you experience manifestation in a practical and creative way through gardening. Manifesting a happy life is like being a gardener. Our thoughts and joyful wishes are the seeds, and it is inspired action, teamwork, and trust with you and nature to make it grow and happen. Shop our kits at crashplantingonyou.com/crazyaboutpaper.com #crashplantingonYou.
Yung makakakuha nito, ito yung mapapanalunan nyo. Either or lang ha. Either or lang. So, cute to, may mga grito. Tapos, ayan siya. Ito siya, pakita ko. Ayan. Ito yung mga kit nila. So, may soil dyan, tapos may seed. Tapos, either yan or merong ito. Either or lang. Kami random. Ito nila. Ito yung manifesting plant and manifest kit. So, meron yan yung soil na, ayan, pag makikita nyo, and pot. Na
So,
pwede
habang
nyo.
hina-harness nyo yung moon energy with your EIP journal, o meron kayong halaman na gino-grow, o di ba?
Yes. Ayan.
Ayan.
Yan. Tapos, meron din
Photo,
tayo.
Ano yan,
Yeah.
Ben? Take
Meron
a
din
photo
tayong-
or a video of your weekend experience, post it on your social media account, tag us, and use the hashtag YGT2021 happening now, YGT2021 ATM, and we will randomly select 6 winners for today who will win a Pop Studio Cosmetics Zampi.
Yes. Ayan. So, tapos, guys, we just want to remind everyone na we have na available yung ating COD payment. Pero, guys, yung mga promos namin, hindi siya valid for COD. Okay? Ayan. So, we also have yung installment payments from Tendo Pay. So, Tendo Pay installment options can offer flexibility and convenience so you don't have to miss out on our special You Got This offers. So something to note lang, if you don't have a Tendo Pay account yet, you'll be prompted to create one. Verify your identity with a valid ID and proof of income. So dun sa you'll be able to check out dun sa namin using Tendo Pay. Yan. Okay. Tapos,
Promo reminders, 15
Eto
off
na.
on all our 2022 planners and other products. Ang unang 100 na bumili sa I Love BDJ gets a Revlon item. The first 100 naman sa Crazy About Paper wellness kit. And then you also get free customization on our planners and quest journals. Tapos free shipping up to 100 pesos with a minimum purchase starting 800. And the planner flash sales. Buy one and get 40% on your second item. Yun yung mga BOGO na binubudol ni Belle sa inyo. Tapos, we will reveal the code during the live selling. Ayan. Shipping reminders. Pagpasensyahan na lang po due to various typhoons and the past 2 weeks shipments have been delayed. So we're shipping out pre-orders starting September 30 and starting to ship out YGT orders starting October 5. So Hinihingi po namin ang inyong mga pasensya. Tapos, we will ship first order paid, first served shipped out. So, please note, yung customizations, pa-add lang po ng mga isa o dalawang business days. Ayan. Tapos gusto rin namin pasalamatan ng aming mga sponsors, our major partners, Revlon, Crave, Lazada, Elana Minerals, Vitapack, Moringa, Glutacy, EcoShift, our minor partners, Harem, Tokyo Fine, Sleepasil, Mondelez, Alaska, Lirio Chocolates, Nail Cafe, Manila, Frankie's, and Red Mango ulit. And then para dun sa mga nag-sponsor ng mga first 100 buyers namin on both sites, Revlon, Sleepasil, Serenity, Piliani, Anytime Fitness. Ayan!
Yeah,
Busog na
we
busog
also
na
have,
kayo.
sorry, we also have si Nutrijina, Harem, and si Ai Canita. Yan.
O, di ba? Hindi pa lunchtime, pero busog na kayo sa promo at discount.
Yes, guys. So, ayun nga nga. So, magbe-break lang kami ulit muna before our third segment. So, we'll be back at 1:10 p.m. So, we'll see you on the next segment, guys. And have a happy lunch. Bye!
Bye! Kain na!
Kain na!